Okay.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. We have a team that is split between two locations, Japan and Taos, New Mexico. So Jean and Shaw are in Japan, and Ashton, Alice, and I are in New Mexico, as you might be able to tell by the Adobe decor behind us.
That we can introduce ourselves. My name is Jean. You just briefly met my husband, Shaw. We're in Japan, and we have Kirsten and Ashton and Alice that are also here. Kirsten and I have been together for about a year working on this course, and we were joined by Ashton and Shaw, who have been helping us along the way. And together we have created a team, and we decided to come together and create this resource with the hopes of providing a platform for people to come learn about all different types of alternative building. And we also are joined by Alice, who is our mastermind on Adobe Brick. So we're super excited to have her join us in this call.
Jean and Asha and I all know each other from working at Earthship Biotexture for quite a long time. Or I worked there for, well, we all did work there for quite a long time. And I left in 2018, and Asha and I started a company called Eco Living Matrix, and we've been doing education around off-grid living and sustainability. We've done some consulting for people that want to retrofit their conventional home to make it more self-sufficient. And we're writing a book, and we're starting a podcast. And then with Jean, now we're together building this online course, and we got to work with a bunch of these different masterminds, a lot of who we actually know personally already, which was kind of handy. Alice being Ashton's wife, that was super convenient. But we also know the guys from Firewall, which is structural rammed earth. Ashton and I were in like a think tank group with them for a couple of years. They were wanting to take their rammed earth, super insulated rammed earth buildings and make them more autonomous and off the grid. And we were kind of helping them simplify the design and get that together. And we know Moeen from Bioautonomy. He was an Earthship intern and academy student. And Dr. Martin Franey from Australia did thermal studies of rammed earth tire walls to see how well the buildings performed with berms and insulation and double greenhouse. And he did all these technical studies where he put temperature probes inside the houses. And Ashton lived in the house that my partner Ron built, that was like the main subject of this study and the highest performing thermal building in terms of being able to stabilize the temperature without any backup heating and cooling. So we know him as well. We know Dr. Rachel Goldlust, who's from Australia, and she's going to be doing the lives on planning and finding land. And who else do we know personally, Jean? We know Joel from Dome Gaia. But we got to meet a lot of these instructors for the first time, including Siggy Coco, who is a natural builder and architectural designer who we absolutely admire. And we got to learn so much from her and from all the masterminds really as we were building this class. So for me, that was really awesome. I kind of was very specialized in one world of alternative building for so long. And people would say, oh, you know, Adobe, that's just like Cobb, right? I'm like, yeah, sure. It's just like Cobb, not really knowing what that meant, or how does, you know, a rammed earth tire building compare to a Strawbell building. And I had nothing to really say about that. So all this has been part of my own personal journey to learn more about these different building types. So yeah. That's me.
Oh, and Alice actually knows Sasha from their time at the Solar Living Institute. So,
yeah, I recognize the name, and I was like, oh, I know Sasha, who teaches the Cobb class from our days as well. I was an intern at the Solar Living Institute, and she was teaching, I believe, Cobb at the time. So
yeah,
still doing it.
I feel like once you get into this world, it's kind of a smaller Like everyone kind of, you're like a couple of degrees separation from like everyone. So yeah.
Cool.
Definitely,
So-
it's definitely a tight knit community, which is really exciting.
And that was kind of another aspect that we really wanted of this, is like kind of bring everyone together, even though people are working with such very different building methods and have very different building philosophies. You know, some of the things in the mastermind, there's people in the mastermind that would never, ever use a tire or rammed earth tire on any project because they just do not believe in that. And yet people that you wouldn't expect, like Barbara Jones, who does load-bearing Strawbell walls, actually got rammed earth tire foundations permitted in the UK for building these Strawbell walls. And but yet she doesn't use cement, and some other people use cement. And like, so I think there's kind of these, it's a small world, but there's kind of, everyone's been specializing in their own little niche. And now we're kind of like trying to bring everyone together and see what's possible between all the different methods. And in the course, you start to see, and some of the instructors talk about that, like Lydia Dolman, who teaches on slip straw or light straw clay, talks about, she uses that in conjunction with Strawbell walls. Say you have a Strawbell building that has Strawbells on 3 sides, but then you have south facing glazing for solar gain. It's kind of, and windows, it's kind of challenging to put these huge Strawbells and space your windows out just so. And so she'll frame up and then put slip straw around where the windows are, even though the rest is Strawbell. And other, you know, kind of conversations like that are really exciting to us.
Yeah, I want to see what people come up with about what they might want to like combine together that's never been combined together, and have us figure out if that's going to like work or not. And I don't know. That excites me.
We have talked to Alice for a little bit next, and then we're going to do a little tour of the course, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't know how many of you have checked out the course yet, but I'll be teaching the Adobe class, and I can answer any questions about that or questions you have about natural finishes and how to finish your Adobe walls, or just building and construction in general. And because I've also built with Strawbell and cob and other materials as well. So any questions you have in that area, here I am.
Oh, and by the way, Alice has kind of been taking the course too.
Well,
tell 'em
yeah, I do have friends kind of with renovation, and they have an old house they stripped down to the studs, and they thought they would just kind of do conventional, you know, fiberglass bats and drywall and all that. And then I mentioned, actually, I think Ashton said, what about hempcrete, since they have existing studs? So I wanted to learn more about it. So I fast forwarded to that class, and I'm pretty fascinated. I'm really into it, really interested. And they're very interested as well. And that would be an ideal material for them.
Yeah.
Because they want earthen walls. They want more of a masonry wall feel, as opposed to the conventional, and dealing with the drywall and how to make that earth plaster on top is kind of tricky.
Very.
Yeah, so I'm learning too. And so I'm excited to be a student with everybody else and just continue the knowledge.
Thank you. Yeah, that kind of makes me think about that some of the materials in this course are something that you'd want to use as a complete wall system. Some of them are load bearing, some of them are not load bearing. Some of the materials can have other different applications, like aircrete can be used as insulation under other situations. And as Alice just mentioned, hempcrete can be in conventional framing and be slip formed into it, and so can the light straw clay. And so it's just this kind of mix of different application of these materials. So it's not all for brand new construction. Some of it could be for retrofitting as well.
Yeah, I had no prior knowledge coming into this course about what light straw clay is, for example. And after hearing Lydia speaking, she's such an amazing speaker and she's such an amazing teacher. I'm so grateful to have her in our lineup. After hearing what she had to say on light straw clay, I was saying to my husband, like, I want to tear all these walls down and do light straw clay everywhere, and something that I feel like what happened during these presentations is we would listen to each of our masterminds, like Alice too. And after each presentation, I was like, all right, we're building it from this material. Okay, forget it. We're doing this material. Okay, we're doing this material. And I got really, really super excited about each of these materials. Like Kirsten was saying, we do have some background, and I feel like I was specialized in one area. And I had no real knowledge of the other materials. And now learning from each of these people and like really feeling how passionate they are, I got so excited to learn about these materials, and I want to build with all of them. And then on top of that, we have other classes from Siggy Coco, who is kind of going through natural design principles. So from these classes, being able to better assess what will work for you based on, your needs, your budget, your climate, and a whole other slew of parameters that need to be considered before you start building, right? Like starting in the very beginning, the planning phase, these are things that you kind of need to figure out. And, learning from each of the masterminds about the materials. And then on top of that, having Siggy put everything into context, I feel like we kind of have created this resource that ties it all together and doesn't just preach one certain type or one method or one technology. We kind of have created a place where we learn about it all together. And like Alice was saying, like, I definitely feel like, I certainly am a student with, as well as everybody else in this course. I feel like we all feel like we're all learning together. So it's been a really great experience thus far.
Well, we're starting to get some questions. Do we want to do a quick tour of the class or take some questions first?
These are good questions. I don't know.
I want to answer a couple. Okay. Yeah. Building codes. Yeah. Sad face. Yes. So, a lot of these materials are actually in the approved addendum to the residential building code. It's up to your local jurisdiction whether they're going to let you use it or not. And so that's like the part of kind of learning how to talk to your planning people about the building and what's possible. It's good to do some pre-research about if anything like similar has been built in the area. Or I mean, I would not go into my local planning department and be like, hey, I'm going to build this house out of foamed up concrete and, put like gray water all over it. I would first investigate, what you need for a permit and in terms of architect's drawings and requirements, and then kind of slowly start the discussion from there. Find an architect or an engineer in your area that's amenable to working with these types of materials. It's build in an area where that it's going to be easier to build this way. It's kind of like, do you really want to be in a specific place, or are you willing to change where you're at to make it easier?
All of those questions are in the workbook. I'm just gonna
Oh yes, yeah. Throw that in there, Ashton. Yeah. Yes, and then Shaw answered another question, and then right. Roof and wall system types, will that be addressed? As the course is now, it's not in the course at this moment, but Siggy Coco is going to be teaching a structure class that covers vertical structure. So how you get walls up, what kind of supports are needed for roofs if they're needed, roofs, floors, foundations. And the way this course works is there's lifetime access for the course. And so as soon as we build Siggy's class, we'll release it to you and let you know about that. And that's one of the first courses that we're going to add to this is Siggy's next class.
Mhm.
Um,
Heard about the workbook.
yes, yes.
Can I? I'm so excited about the workbook. Should I screen share some of it?
Yeah.
Yeah, please.
Can I do that?
And then while I'll answer this next question, Asha, while you're setting up, is anyone using 3D printers with earthen materials? That's our next obsession, is 3D printing with Adobe. There's a company in Italy called Wasp that does it, where they use a large kind of crane system that does these you know, kind of web walls, and they infill between with different natural insulations. Very cool. Really expensive for a machine. They're like $300,000, and they're not getting permits yet in Italy for structural Adobe printed. They're considered to be curtain walls, so they're still doing framing and then infilling with these walls. But there's a very famous architect named Ron Rael, who is from UC Berkeley, who actually is doing experiments up here in the San Luis Valley, which is about 2 hours north of us. And he has an Adobe 3D printer that's like an arm, and it goes on the back of a trailer on a truck. And we are currently stalking him to get him into this course. So we hope that can happen for you guys too.
So I'm sorry, sharing is not enabled for me, so I can't share at the moment, but I could talk a little bit about the workbook until that's enabled. So the workbook is really huge, but I think it needs to be, because what it's going to do is take you on a journey, and it's an inward journey. It's, you know, asking you a lot of questions about how you're feeling about this, you know, why you want to make this move, why you're considering all of these different materials, and it's going to lead you through each class. So each class has different workbook sections that you're going to be completing. And some of them are reading, and some of it's kind of going back over some of the things that are in the class and solidifying it. But a lot of it is taking you on this journaling journey, where by the end of it, when you have finished the course and you finish the workbook, you have like a roadmap of exactly how you feel about all of the different wall systems, how you feel about where your values are, where you are you in the camp of no tire walls ever, or are you in the camp of no concrete, or, you know, yes to those things, or yes to those things with like these caveats, or just how you feel about all the different materials. And you're going to have your idea of what you want to build and why you want to build it. You're also going to have a clear idea of how that particular type of building is going to help you. Oh, great. Here we go. How that type of building is going to help or work in your climate. So that's really huge. Siggy talks a lot about that. And that's like the number one thing. So we're looking at like how to even orient these homes so that they're going to perform better. We're looking at how to, you know, make certain decisions based on your climate and based on where you want to build. You're also going to be looking, do you want thermal mass structure? Do you want an insulated structure? And then we go in for these assessments for each of the different wall systems so that you can decide how you feel about it. And that just popped up. Like, are you happy? Are you not happy? Are you frustrated with this wall system? Like, you know, and also how much they cost. And yeah, just sort of going through. There's also going to be some on, we have a lot of assessments. So this is really like your journey. And by the end of it, at the very end, we're really excited about this. It's all kinds of questions that you're asking yourself. And yeah, you get to start to make your plan. So it's all the action steps that you need to do. If you need to contact people, if you need to, you know, decide on a floor plan. We're hoping that you all will upload your floor plan to us and we can give you feedback on it to say, yeah, that's a great idea. That's going to work great in your climate. Ooh, you may want to orient it a little more this way or that way, or what have you, to see like how well it's going to really be working. And yeah, just like a builder checklist, action steps, how to budget, how to finance, I know that Rachel's going to go really in deep for like building codes and planning. And yeah, I think it's a great tool. At the end of it, you can look through this book that you've created for yourself and know exactly what you want to create. So, because it's not one size fits all and there's not one answer. And the whole point of the course is to not be dogmatic or say our way is the best way. It's just helping you identify what way you think is best for you. Yeah.
It looks amazing. Hey, I'm excited about going through the course and filling it out myself.
Yeah. Alice and I are planning on building another house, so we're actually going to do the same thing.
Yeah, I think we'll do that too. I think it's going to be such an amazing resource to help navigate and help you just get all of your thoughts in one place and kind of journal your whole experience.
Yeah.
We learned the hard way, kind of last build when we weren't so organized. Had some last minute decisions that were very stressful.
Yes, both Alice and I can speak to the owner builder experience, and maybe we'll do a live in the course about the owner builder experience. Jean knows a lot about project management and planning projects that have actual budgets and crews and like subcontractors, where both Alice and I have kind of done it the hard way with a few helpers over many years to build our homes. And we can share some insight, things that we're really happy that we did, and things that we might do differently next time, and kind of, the overall experience, how to plan and phase your build for the seasons and for the budget. I got to points in my build where I wasn't ready for winter to be there, and I didn't have windows on my building and I had plastic instead of windows. And in this climate, that is a rough go, especially when it's windy. So learn from my many mistakes. I don't know if Alice made any mistakes, but I know that I sure did.
Yeah, I think the workbook is just going to save you just so much headache and just getting organized, getting, thoughts out of your head and onto paper and really articulating, your values and why you want to do what you want to do. And
that helps make your decision process easier, I think,
Yeah.
too. If you know your values and you know why you're wanting something, it's easier to rule out other things and say, nope, that's not what I want to do because that material is not in alignment with, X, Y, or Z value or what have you. Yeah.
Yeah, it is such a stressful, long journey that you can lose sight of the original mission, the original dream, and why you're doing this.
Yeah. There are so many times where Alice is like, what if we just get just the doors? It's the doors from Home Depot. And I'm like, no, we can't do it. We can't do it. It has to be all natural. Because it just makes it easier,
But did you make your own glass for the doors, Ashton and Alice?
No. That would be really cool if we did. Yeah.
Do we want to answer another question and then maybe talk a little bit about the community? Jean, what do you think?
Yeah. Do you want to talk? We want to answer one of these questions?
Yeah, I'm going to touch on the retrofitting question there.
Great.
I think that, as I kind of mentioned, that some of the materials in the course serve multiple purposes and can be used for different things, like aircrete and light straw clay. Straw can be used as insulation, apart from being a load-bearing wall. Tire walls are not going to be part of an urban retrofit, for example. Other things could be part of an addition, like rammed earth or structural rammed earth could be an addition and work in an urban climate. They have the advantage of not needing to be earth bermed to have their entire thermal mass envelope. So they're rammed earth and then insulation and then more rammed earth, whereas an earthship wall is a rammed earth tire wall and then more earth and then insulation and then more earth. And so when you look down on an earthship wall, you know, from above, it is, you know, it goes out to like 30 feet around it. You cannot squeeze that into an urban setting. But I think that, you know, aircrete could be used possibly in retrofitting, and the light straw clay and the hempcrete as well.
For sure.
And we don't really super get into natural finishes, but everyone kind of touches on clay plasters and lime plasters, the people that use them, and those can be used in retrofit too.
Mhm.
Yeah, one of our retrofitting clients chose to like kind of take everything down to the studs and wanted like a more I guess like, you know, better air quality and just a better quality insulation. And so he ended up going with sheep's wool. And then Alice had the brilliant idea of what we used because he wanted like earthen walls, which is really hard to do with a retrofit when you already have studs. And so Alice was like, well, you know, it's really easy to take this like basically like a hardy backer, and then you can plaster that with earth. I don't know, there's all kinds of things you can do. But
Yeah, that's what I
hempcrete
ended
would
up
be
doing.
fantastic.
Instead of
Yeah.
drywall, I used like a cement board, like Durarock. And my building inspector just said, just get the specific screws that are for Durarock. So I
Mhm.
used that, and then I was able to earth plaster on top of that, and you know, you get that earthen wall feel.
Yeah.
And actually, that reminds me, Ashton, we made a whole spreadsheet on
We did.
different natural insulations. And yeah, that's something we could put in the course as well. It might be a good resource. It's specifically for retrofitting, because we realized that if you want to bump up your insulation in a lot of these buildings, you have to fur out from your studs to make the depth of the cavity a little bit bigger. If you just have like a 2x6, you might want to come out to a 2x8 or 2x10. And then we went through all different natural materials and put their respective R values in that spreadsheet.
And that's what I'm looking at with my friend's project, because they have 2x4s,
Mhm.
2x4 walls. So that's not a very thick wall for them because it's pretty cold where they are. So if we do hempcrete, you can widen that wall and secure that form, you know, at any width. So that will increase the insulation value in the walls. So that might be a good solution for them in a lot of ways.
Do we have other emailed in questions? Is a question. I'm not sure if we have that available, Jean, or from Corb.
I'm gonna pull this up right now.
Oh, it's the foamcrete one. We're going to be doing a live with Joel from Dome Gaia in the course. And I think we might not know the answer to specific foamcrete details, but Joel for sure will have those answers. Yes, we're going to be posting everybody's upcoming course schedule. Sorry, we're zoning out on your great questions. Yes, we're going to, that's one of the things is we want to have a one place for everyone's workshops coming up. Definitely, we do want to share that.
Yeah, is that going to be posted in the community or?
Yeah, we could put it in the community, and we could also, where else could we, there's probably another place we could put it. We probably add it to a section of the course as well. Yeah, we have a lot of experience also hosting workshops, and all of us really, and we've built around the world and hosted students all over the world. So we hopefully can host our own workshops someday too.
Yeah, Kirsten actually started the Earthship Academy. So I'm gonna brag on you a little bit.
Thanks. Yeah, but again, when people ask me about anything else but Earthships, I had zero to say, and now I have a little bit more to say, so that was good. Should we talk about the community, or the features of the course, or Jean, we're kind of.
Yeah. Just to highlight some of the things that that the course has built into it, which we're really excited about, is, well, the workbook, of course. We're thrilled about the workbook. Like we were saying, like we're totally going to use it. It is above and beyond, I would say. And then we also wanted to highlight the fact that, again, when you sign up for the course, you do have lifetime access, which includes access to any of the future or addition add-ons that we include into the course, like new course materials and new lessons that we plan to add. We also do have some live sessions and classes scheduled. At this point, we have two classes scheduled with Dr. Rachel Goldlust of Natural Building Australia, who's going to be talking about planning and permitting, and finding the right piece of land. So those are two really important things. These are things that people are constantly asking about. So we figured we might as well touch on these. And we also are going to do, for new students, we're going to actually have next week, we're going to have a welcome to the course live class that we plan to do with everybody to kind of walk everyone through the whole course. So we can kind of get introduced really and find out where everything is within the course, how to use it, and then also how to use the community, which is an inbuilt feature with the course. We have a private course, or sorry, a private community for the Build Outside the Box students. And that lives within a larger community, but we have like a course discussion within that. And in that course discussion, we'll have different places where you can come and introduce yourself. And as it grows, we'll be adding more, I guess, channels within the community. And really, this is a place where we can get together and, talk about all the things we love about building and what we're inspired by. And our masterminds are also going to be part of this community too. So you'll get to know everybody. And that's what we're really, really excited for, is kind of just creating a place where we can, come together, inspire, refer people to, different ideas or techniques, and kind of just help each other along the way. And let me see. And another thing I do want to mention about the course is that it's self-paced. So that's another thing we've been getting asked a lot is, when does the course end? But it's at your own pace. So it's not something that, you have to complete by a certain time, or else, and then you lose access. You can take the course at your own pace and you have lifetime access to it.
Right, because each class is pretty long. Each of the Masterminds course classes are between an hour and a half and 2 hours long each. So, and Siggy's courses or classes add up to probably an hour and a half or maybe more than that. So it's pretty dense. It's not just like little short bits. Each instructor has a pretty solid amount of time. So it will take a while to get through the course itself.
Yeah, I feel like though, if you set aside maybe an hour or two every week, like maybe, an hour for a class and then like some time for journaling, or maybe 30 minutes for journaling in the workbook, that would probably be good. And that's how I am planning on taking it.
So have we just quickly address Corb's email question? He was saying, is there a library of tested recommendations foamcrete builders can refer to as they wonder? How can I speed up foamcrete production? How can I adjust the FC recipe so it remains runny enough to be self-leveling? What's the most economical way to pump FC foamcrete up 25 to 30 feet? These are not specific questions that are addressed in the course at all, but being in the course, you can connect with Joel, who is from Dome Gaia, who builds with Aircrete. He builds domes out of Aircrete. And I guess the best thing we can offer you is, this community, being able to connect with other people who can help come up with he's left, but yeah, help you come up with ways to, pump foamcrete 25 to 30 feet up in the air, or whatever you want to do.
I think Corb was the only one that wanted to do that, so.
Yeah, I
that's
don't,
okay.
I don't know if anyone else is wondering that.
Oh, Craig wants to know, where do we see the schedule for the live classes?
Right now, it's on the landing page, the dates for Rachel's classes. And then, which, Shaw, can you just drop the land? Oh, it's in there up higher on the, but maybe drop the landing page in again in the chat. And then, yes, when you're in the course, we'll be emailing and notifying, giving plenty of notice of the upcoming live classes for sure.
The thing that's like most exciting for me about this is getting to know all of you and learning why you're interested in this and just connecting on that level. Kirsten and I were talking the other day about how lucky we are. And I think Alice and I talk about this too. Like our group, we're all so excited about this that we talk about this stuff all the time. But I realize that like that is not everywhere. And so I'm like really excited to bring these conversations to everyone and have this be more of like a global kind of like place where we can all support each other and have the conversations that maybe, you know, your friends are looking at you like you're crazy when you start going on about whatever the different building types that you're into are, or why you want to do these things and how you want to live. And yeah, I'm just really excited about the community and getting to know all of you. So yeah.
Great. Well, we're at time. Do we want to take any more questions, or Jean, you had a little wrap up? Do you want to?
Sure. I mean, we are really excited. Also, if you are still feeling like you're on the fence, we do, and you have not done so yet, if you go on the landing page at the very bottom of the screen, you can opt in and we will send you a free class or a free preview of one of Siggy's classes. And you can kind of go through that and see how you feel about it. And then if you do have any other questions, you can feel free to send us an email at the support email address. And you can also follow us on our Instagram and check in with some of our updates. We'll be continuing to post. We're really excited about the feedback we've been receiving. And also, I don't know, we can open up questions for Alice. If anybody has any questions they would like to ask Alice, one of our masterminds. She's here, so yeah.
Yeah,
I
I'm excited. Like if the community is going to be more like a forum, like a go-to place to ask questions, you know, because this information is kind of obscure, to have a one-stop shop to find information. Because a lot of times I have questions too. And a lot of times I've had to just figure things out through experimentation. Like when I tried Tadillac for the first time, it was so hard to find a recipe, you know, that was straightforward. So I'm excited for the community in that way. Not just answering questions, but asking questions and finding information for myself
Yes.
too, and just
Yes.
sharing this information that's like
Yeah.
very valuable and, you know, the future of building.
Yeah. For too long, we've been separated in separate camps, and it's time to share with everyone what everybody knows, I think. And yeah, it's all better than the box, right?
Yeah, and Alice's mastermind class in the course is one of the ones that gets very specific about the actual techniques of sourcing, mixing, forming, pouring, making bricks, laying bricks, all the kind of things that come up when you're working with that material. She did a fantastic job of getting super detailed with her coverage of how to build with Adobe bricks. So
Yeah, it was one.
Share everything I knew.
It was one presentation I was really excited about because it really makes you feel like this is so accessible to me. Like you're literally showing me everything I need to do, you know. So it's like, wow, I can build myself a house. Yeah, it's really great.
Yeah, that's why I liked it as well. And why I began doing demonstrations at the farmers market, and just a lot of kids participated in making bricks, and you could just see that anyone can do it, even these little children. Yeah, you don't need a lot of money, but maybe a lot of time.
Yeah,
And-
natural building is all about child labor, if you haven't noticed from
Yeah,
a lot of
yeah.
the images out there.
But I remember wanting to make a brick and having a lot of trouble on the internet finding a good video or a good website. How do I do this? And so that's just what I want to make accessible too, is just, through my trial and errors, like this is just what's worked for me, and you could try it in your backyard.
If you don't like it, it's just mud.
Yeah.
I have a question for Alice, maybe. Well, if I'm
Yeah.
if I'm coming across my audio, okay. Good. And I'll note I do have some trouble with Zoom, I think, in this laptop. So if the image degrades and disappears, I'm still here.
Yep, I
Audio
can
feed
hear
is
you.
still working. Awesome. Curious to know if the method that you used that involved Dura-Rock with the approved kind of screws and then clay on top is something that we could expect to hear more about in the courses, because I'm
I'm not sure if I
working-
mentioned that in the class, but
Okay.
maybe in the future. I think we were talking about doing an earthen finish class,
Yeah.
where I could share plaster recipes and maybe ways to adapt to other materials if you're not going over an earthen material.
But Alice will be in the community, so if you want to hit her up,
Maybe you want to try
Okay.
it.
sure that she'll.
Yeah, because I've been having a little trouble at the seams as well, so it's kind of something
Okay.
I have to still perfect.
Okay, great. Because if your brain is available to pick, then otherwise, if not
Yeah,
during
definitely.
the actual course, that's wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
I'm looking at attempting to retrofit a row house in Baltimore City, which I don't yet own and haven't yet found. It's hypothetical, looking for it and setting it up. Using as much cob or light clay straw or as an infill, and maybe an Adobe floor to taking advantage of that height and so temperature difference between rooftop and basement as a thermosiphon, so solar chimney, and then augmenting that cooling, the sort of passive cooling effect with as much clay as I can, work into the design as possible. So we'll love to hear more about how that's possible, what successes people have had. And I'll mention I am so lucky. I'm in Northern Maryland, Baltimore area. I live about 40 minutes from Siggy Coco, who's in Southern Pennsylvania. And I've been so lucky to be able to take about 8 of her workshops now. And so I'm talking to her a little bit about this too, but yeah, love to hear more from anyone who's attempted it about.
I'm glad you're close to Siggy, because my first question would be like, have you sourced your dirt and played around with that and looked at what kind of clay content you have in your dirt, would be kind of my first investigation. But
Okay.
I guess that might be something you could ask Siggy since she's in the area for.
It's
And
pretty
I
heavy
do go
clay,
through that
yeah.
in my class as well, as kind of how to test the dirt that you have access to test it for clay content. And it'll probably take some testing with what proportion of sand to amend it with and things like that to make it
Okay.
work.
Thanks.
Yeah, but I'm excited for all these different different ideas.
I think this is gonna be
Yeah,
cool. I'm
so-
excited to see what gets built.
Yeah, definitely feel free to contact me and brainstorm some ideas to try.
Awesome. Okay.
And I've done
thanks.
I've done an earth floor at my house as well. So let me know if you want to attempt that or how that's gonna go.
Very good. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think this discussion just now makes me think about how, we built this course on speculation that this is something people would actually enjoy and want. So that's our hope, is that people want and enjoy and learn from this course. But at the same time, since we're going to continue to evolve it, all the people in the course and what you guys want to learn is going to influence, how we continue to build out the course based on, what people need, what people want, what people are interested in, is really going to help us. And that kind of feedback is so important for us. We're not going to tell you guys what to build. You tell us what you want to build.
Yeah. And also, Stephen, if dirt is an issue, there are ways to make an earthen plaster with materials that you can buy, like from the pottery supply I go to a lot. Even just like at the hardware store, if you want to try a lime plaster or something, you can get all that at the hardware store. So, let me know what your end goal is.
Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's also a lot of ways to adapt it to just drywall too. So,
But if you don't have to use drywall.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of envisioning finding a completely burnt out old row house, and they're typically of brick construction on the party walls, and just ripping it back to brick, and then doing something to infill or at least prep the surfaces for a clay plaster after that. In other words, no drywall if possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, something like pumicecrete or hempcrete or the light straw clay would be ideal. It would just take the earth plaster without needing any kind of like lath or anything. So that would be ideal for you.
Okay, I think I'd only seen examples of clay plaster and the kind of undercoat, and then the finished plaster applied on lath or an earthen wall. I guess I've seen them on cob wall and then lath, but
Yeah,
you said it.
some people don't like to use lath.
Yeah. Barbara,
I don't think it's
necessary. Barbara, who covers the Strawbell class, she's based in the UK, and she is like a 40-year veteran of building with Strawbell and natural plasters, and she would throw up at the idea of using lath. Also, there's other reasons other than not needing it, because Strawbell can also just take earthen plaster materials, but there's also the fact that if you have metal in your wall, when you have moisture flowing through, it condenses on cold metals, and that will cause moisture buildup and mold and black mold in the future. So it's definitely within your best interest to keep it as natural as possible for just the health of the your air quality and everything.
Yeah.
We learned a lot from Barbara. The way Strawbell walls get built a lot in this area is they have the Strawbell wall, then they put plastic on it, and then chicken wire, and then cement plaster on the outside. And Barbara was I think we even have a conversation about that in the course, about why these Strawbell walls, mold and fail and rot away, is because they cannot breathe. And so she doesn't do any of that. There's lime plaster on the outside and earthen plaster on the inside, and it's all completely vapor permeable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's what Eamon was talking about a lot as well in his hempcrete class that I was taking. He talks a lot about allowing the moisture to flow through your walls, and that is what prevents mold from growing. So it's important not to, cover your walls with a permeable layer. Mm-hmm.
Great. Well, we're over time. Shaw, is there anything else that you think we need to cover, or Ashton and Alice?
Yeah, I don't think we have much more to cover. Just if anyone wants a free class, if they haven't signed up and they're just, looking to see what it's all about, then you can opt in at the bottom of the landing page to receive a free email. Yeah, if no one else has any questions. Well, I think this has been great. Thanks, Stephen, for your questions. It's been so nice to get like direct feedback, and and being able to address some things. It's really exciting to see how that's going to continue within the community. Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks everybody for being here, and thanks for your interest. We're excited.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank
So glad
you.
people are out there that want to do this stuff.
Yeah, we're not the only weirdos. Yay.
Yay. Yeah. Feel free to contact us or email too if you guys have any more questions, and we hope to see you inside the course.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Bye.